So we've got a few minutes to talk about Bone Tomahawk.
So Bone Tomahawk is directed by S. Craig Zahler. He is a cinematographer turned director and screenwriter for this film. Bone Tomahawk is a film that follows a group of cannibal savages that kidnap settlers from the small town of Bright Hope, and an unlikely team of gunslingers led by Sheriff Franklin Hunt, led by the legendary Kurt Russell, has to set out and bring them home and save them. Bone Tomahawk is a very different western from something that we saw a few months ago, The Hateful Eight, and also starring Kurt Russell. There you go, another Kurt Russell western. And the reason that is so is because it is a very, very bleak tone to this film. It is extremely bleak, and it is. I guess the best way to say it is sort of a very peculiar mix-up of genres within the way that it's got a lot of elements of westerns in there. Obviously there are some extreme horror elements. I know a lot of people before this film, like well before this film was released in the UK, will have seen a certain death scene involving a certain
Can you see it?
Even if we could, I wouldn't want to spoil it.
A certain Native American method of killing enemies from the past.
And further.
Very brutal.
Yeah.
So I mean that in particular is an incredible standout highlight from the film. It's brutal, it's gory, it's exactly what you want. I mean this is it's got the DNA of The Hateful Eight, but it's a very, very different western. I mean it's slow, and it builds up its characters and its set pieces like The Hateful Eight does. It's a very slow burning story. It's got some fantastically gripping performances. Kurt Russell, man, I mean, what a comeback this has been for this man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's been absolutely terrific. I think Lili Simmons was great.
Yep.
I think Matthew Fox as well was surprisingly great.
Haven't seen him in a while, have we?
Yeah, and even David Arquette in his small role was decent as well, I thought. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing is just, it's bleak. It's really dour in what it tries to do. I loved some of the cinematography. It's really well directed, as you would expect from a man who has turned into a cinematographer, from a cinematographer into a director. The story is slow burning that it lets you interact with the characters in a way that the story feels gripping in that sense, to follow the performances, and it's really, really brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not afraid to shy away from that, and I think it's Kurt Russell. It's definitely one of the best performances I've seen him do.
I think the script is very tight. You know, it's quite a long film.
Oh yeah.
Between those set pieces, you've got to have good dialogue, and there really was. There's a line when they're on the horses and they're on this. It's another critic brought this to my attention where. They arrive on this land, so they say the world is round. Here I'm not so sure. And he says big flat land, this big plain, really vast. I thought it was really good, dripping with attention and tone, and very brutal. But you know, it requires patience, but I think it's well worth the payoff. Joe?
This feels like an evolution of the cowboy genre.
Yeah. I mean, for something with such a low budget, for what the directors managed to do, I think it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, you don't like with them type of budget films nowadays. They're usually very quick paced, and you see the same kind of style. But with this one, I really like how he let give all the characters like space. He let them all breathe.
Yeah.
I mean, the like obviously 2 hours and 15 minutes is like still it's pretty long, but it's well like. It's well done, its length, because you're never bored at all with all these characters. They're very fleshed out, especially Richard Jenkins, which took me 20-30 minutes to realise, oh my god, it's Richard Jenkins. And this is probably like one of the best performances I've seen him in, because you only see him in bit parts as like a comedic actor or like some kind of dramatic spare force, but he's Kurt Russell's deputy in this, and he's just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
He kind of takes the role that's similar to the ones from the old man in Rio Bravo and Red River. He takes that kind of dopey role you just gotta love him. But overall, extremely violent.
Oh yeah.
But
I think it's the most I've flinched since Dogtooth.
I did flinch.
Yeah.
I have flinched, and I don't flinch often, but this film did make me flinch.
There's a lot of tying off in this film, isn't there?
Yeah.
Tying off limbs.
There's a lot, because it doesn't like Ryan was saying, it doesn't shy away from what would actually happen back in the day. It wouldn't just be like a single kind of shot wound and oh no, Wilhelm scream. You
feel it.
Yeah.
Extremely macabre and great performance by Kurt Russell.
Yeah. Recommend?
Absolutely.
Film of the week?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give it film of the week.
Probably.
I agree. We're now in podcast.